Cyanide bombs reopen public land safety debate for B2B users. The repeal of restrictions on M44 cyanide devices has brought a long-running public land management debate back into focus. The devices, often called cyanide bombs, are used in predator control programs aimed at reducing livestock losses and managing wildlife conflicts. For ranchers and agencies, the argument is tied to protecting animals, limiting economic damage, and responding to land use pressures. For other public land users, the concern is more direct. M44s are baited, spring-loaded pesticide devices placed in open landscapes. When triggered, they eject sodium cyanide powder into the mouth and face of the animal or person that activates them. While they are intended to target coyotes and other predators, past incidents show the risk is not limited to those species. The 2017 poisoning of Idaho teenager Canyon Mansfield remains one of the clearest examples. Mansfield came across an M44 while walking his dog and reportedly mistook it for a sprinkler head. He survived, but his dog died at the scene. The incident became a national flashpoint for critics who argue that the devices create a public safety risk that is hard to control once they are placed in shared outdoor spaces. For businesses, contractors, ranching operations, and land managers working near public lands, the issue is not just environmental, it is also about liability, worker safety, recreation access, and community trust. Public lands are used by ranchers, hikers, hunters, families, employees, and field crews. Reintroducing a highly toxic device into those areas changes the risk profile, even where signage, notification, and compliance processes are in place. Compliance requirements may not resolve the core risk. The renewed use of M44s comes with federal safeguards. Wildlife Services is expected to develop annual wildlife damage management plans, consider lethal and non-lethal methods, coordinate with the Bureau of Land Management, address NEPA and Endangered Species Act requirements, and provide chemical application notifications before using restricted use pesticides such as sodium cyanide M44s. The BLM is also expected to review pesticide use notifications against annual plans and provide a written response within 72 hours when those notifications are submitted. These requirements create more structure than an unmanaged approach and acknowledge concerns around endangered species, public safety, pet exposure, and agency oversight. Still, the central question remains whether process can fully offset the hazard. M44s are concealed poison devices that can be triggered by the wrong animal or by a person. That makes them different from more targeted removal methods and keeps them at the center of the public land safety debate. Endangered wildlife remains a major concern. Conservation and animal welfare groups have argued that predator poisons can harm species beyond the intended targets, including wolves, grizzly bears, Canada lynx, foxes, scavenging birds, and other animals that may trigger a device or encounter poisoned animals. Earlier litigation pushed federal agencies to complete endangered species reviews, with the expectation that stronger mitigation would follow in areas where protected wildlife live. Figures cited by advocacy groups add to the scrutiny. In 2016, M44s reportedly killed 13,530 animals, including 321 non-target animals. In 2020, Wildlife Services data cited by conservation groups showed 7,691 animals poisoned by M44s, with more than 200 killed unintentionally. Those reported deaths included a black bear, 5 dogs, and dozens of foxes. Critics also argue that official figures may undercount actual deaths when carcasses are not found or incidents are not documented. Pets are a practical risk point for land users because M44s are baited to attract canids. A dog walking off-leash, accompanying a ranch worker, or traveling with a family can interact with the device in the same way a coyote might. That makes the repeal more than a policy shift. It affects how people assess safety when using, managing, or working near public lands. For agencies and ranching interests, predator control is often framed around reducing livestock losses. For conservation groups, recreation users, and nearby businesses, the calculation is different. A single failure can mean an injured person, a dead pet, or harm to protected wildlife. The return of M44s therefore raises a practical governance issue. whether a pesticide device with a record of unintended harm can meet current expectations for public safety, biodiversity protection, and responsible land stewardship. For B2B operators near public lands, the takeaway is clear. Compliance may reduce exposure, but it does not remove the reputational, legal, and operational risks attached to cyanide-based predator control.